Hi, I'm Kristi Frank from season number 1 of Donald Trump's The Apprentice, and welcome to the Success Show. Today I have a good friend of mine, Roberta Ross, and she has an interesting background in something that we're both passionate about, real estate. So, good morning, Roberta. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am so good. Now, before we get into your coaching program and everything, I would like to share with everyone your background and how you got started.
Oh, wow. Well, it goes back a long ways. For about 15 years, I've been have a real estate investment company. You know about that.
Yes.
But my husband and I actually started it in the mid-90s.
Oh,
and
perfect timing.
We bought and sold over 300 homes in the greater Pittsburgh area.
Wow.
So we did a lot of business, a lot of marketing, a lot of lead generation, and I started. I was a speaker before getting into real estate, and then I about 5 years ago started speaking to real estate agents on lead generation and marketing and prospecting and mindset for success. So.
Well, and I asked you, did you work with a lot of agents? And you said yes, and I gave you an opportunity to see which ones stood out, which ones were working, and so you have the other perspective of what actually works.
Yes, absolutely.
So your site, sixfigurerealestatecoach.com. Tell me about how you started and what you offer people.
Well, I started a coaching program. You know, we all know that there's a big difference between having knowledge and implementing that knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
We always hear, oh, knowledge is power, but it's really not true, right? It's really the implementation of that knowledge that gives it power. So as I've been traveling around and speaking to thousands and thousands of real estate agents, I came to realize that there was a clear set of behaviors among agents who are successful and a clear set of behaviors and practices among agents who were not successful.
Wow.
And so I really work to bring this to the surface to help educate agents on what those are, but then also making sure that they implement that information so that they can be successful.
Okay, give us one behind the scenes piece of advice for what's not working and one maybe tip to stand out.
Okay, that's a great question. Let's see, one behind the thing. I think this is one, well, I have a book coming out called The Biggest Prospecting Mistakes.
Ah, love it.
Real estate agents make, that's one of my books. And one of those mistakes is that most agents try to be all things to all people.
Oh yeah, that's...
You know, and so it's almost like they take this attitude that to be successful, they have to
help everybody.
Yeah, or they have to do business with everybody, or they have to get every transaction. When really, when we sit down and we look at their goals, they just need a handful of transactions. So I think one of the biggest behind the scenes effective strategies is to definitely establish an identity, a niche within the market that you focus on, and stop worrying and focusing on the fear of what you're going to miss out on, and really focus on what you'll attract by targeting a niche.
That is so huge, because when you become, we like to think of this, the number one person in your field, in your niche, other people will come to you, but it's impossible to stand out in everything. It's impossible.
Exactly right. And that's really why so many agents fall into that trap, because they're afraid of what they're going to miss out on, so they broaden their message, and then they just flounder around, and they're always doing this, you know, same level of production or just a handful of transactions and can't figure out how to go beyond that. So.
It's so funny. You're reminding me of when I was investing in California. I picked, and I knew very few agents in the area, but how I found my realtor was she was the number one, she labeled herself the number one condo salesperson in this certain area that I was investing in.
Right.
And that caught my eye, and she got my business solely because that was her niche. So it's so powerful, and it's great that you brought that up.
That's exactly right, because really when a prospect receives any communication that you have, whether it's, you know, what you're speaking or what's on your business card or your website or your social networking sites or your flyers, your brochures, all of those things should in the mind's eye of the prospect say, you know, that's me.
Right.
And that's how you create maximum impact, by really going after specifically who you want, so they know and they're clear that you are who they want.
Well, just open your mailbox, and how many agent brochures do you get of listings in your area, what's sold, what's not, with their picture, but it doesn't catch you. You may even read it, but you're lost on the image of who this agent is. I throw so many away because they don't stick.
They're just another real estate agent, and that's
there's
what
nothing.
happens. It's just watered down.
That's
there's nothing there.
Great.
Oh, can we throw in another bonus?
Well, of course.
Well, when you get most stuff, it's really watered down in general, but it also tends to be about them. This is one of the things that discourages me a little bit when I see a lot of agents, they're investing, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 to get branded. Because branding sounds very chic, right?
Yeah,
and
that's
got to be the answer to all of my problems.
Pretty colors, nice logo.
Yeah, oh yeah. And they do. They look very visually pleasing, right? Because they're graphically beautiful, a lot of them. But the problem is that it's not about being cute and unique and
beautiful
and beautiful. It's really about doing what works.
Right.
And so what the consultant does is they interview the agent and say, we're going to make it all about you, unique to you. But the problem is then it becomes all about the agent and not about the people they're trying to serve. So
that is huge and great advice. My husband worked for a Madison Avenue agency, and it's all about branding. And if you're Pepsi or Kraft, you can do that. But to stand out, you really need to be unique and different. And I have a mentor who says, even make it ugly. I mean, anything that makes them read and remember, whatever that thing you want to pick is how you have to stand out.
That's right. And it is a mental shift.
Yes.
Because going from what is attractive to going to what works starts in your mind first. And that's why a lot of things that a lot of people would look at that and say, oh, that's ugly, or I would never send something that's
But did you remember?
But, what were the results?
Exactly.
And you have to look at the results.
Exactly. And what Roberta is saying is my number one reason why I use coaches and mentors in my life. You need someone outside of your friends and family and maybe your business associates' perspective to see what works. And you've had that history and what works, what catches your eye, what catches your prospect's eye. So that's why I love what you're doing. So,
thank you.
Okay, so let's say I've been in real estate, whether I'm a beginner or I've been in the industry for 10, 15 years, and I'm not getting the results that I should be getting. What's the best way to work with you? Do you do coaching? Yes,
I am a coach, and I have a coach myself. I know the benefit of it personally and for the people that I help. And, it's the same, getting back to what we alluded to earlier. You have information, which has inherent power, but the real power is when you implement it. And the coaching is really what helps you implement. Like, for example, one of my coaching members, she said she accomplished more with me in 1 month of coaching with me than she had the entire year and a half put together.
Oh yeah, when you're paying someone to mentor or to coach you, if you have a call with them, you get your homework done, and there's a fire under you and a blueprint of how to get things done, and you do it because you're being accountable and being held accountable. It's a fast track. So tell me about your system and what works in your coaching.
Well, what you're looking at here, this is the blueprint for success. This is actually my home study course, which is really for any real estate agent. Not all real estate agents are ready for coaching, and so it gives them an opportunity, a step-by-step plan to stay focused on the things that produce revenue. Because here's the thing, and a lot of people will hear me in my talks when I'm speaking or, on a coaching call even, I'll say, there's 1,000,001 ways to be busy in this business and making no money. And most real estate agents have discovered a lot of those ways. So this Blueprint for Success home study course is really designed to keep agents focused on revenue producing activity and not get caught up into the busyness.
I love that. Revenue producing activity, and here's an action guide to keep you on track if you're not ready for the one-on-one coaching. And what happened to me is, first I bought a home study course with the mentor I'm working with now and loved it, and then wanted to increase my revenues, increase my growing, increase my profits. So then I worked on the fast track. Once I find your system and I love it and start working it, then you can really get on the phone with me and tweak some things that I'm doing.
That's right. Well, the show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, right? How you have a lifeline, someone who's an expert that you can call. And I think that, that's a big part of the coaching because a lot of times we're faced with so many decisions, but you can't implement everything all at once. And so it really helps to give direction on, staying focused on what works.
So that's a really good point. And I know, well, we all know that sometimes times little tiny questions, if you have that stumbling block, they can stop you for months. I mean, what should I name my website could stop you for months.
Exactly.
So having a coach
years.
there, or seriously, years. Right. So having a coach there, like you said, that lifeline can propel you into, you know, not worrying about the little stuff and into revenue.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, it's interesting. This is usually what happens is either agents are so overwhelmed by everything they don't do anything, or they do a lot of things not very well. And when things aren't working, they either stop completely or they shift into something completely different, right? Thinking the grass is greener on the other side. Or worse, they keep doing the same thing over and over again. But it's not really a big shift. It's not something that you that most agents have to totally transform what they're doing and go into a whole other arena. A lot of times it's just that little tweak. It's just that little tweak, having somebody who can have an eye for that little tweak.
Oh, wonderful. Roberta, tell us again where to go to find you, how to start getting your information.
Oh, well, if you're interested in having me speak at your event, or if you're interested in the home study course or books and tapes or coaching, you can go all to the same place. That'd be www.sixfigurerealestatecoach.com.
And I love you have spoken to large groups of agents. She's an incredible motivator, and she gives great advice specifically in her talks. So not only is it, you know, where someone can go to get individual advice, but definitely have her come speak and inspire your agents to results and revenue. That's what I like.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Kristi.
Well, thank you so much for being here. It's been my favorite topic of the day. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Thank you.